hard to learn how to write, to know how to write.
Hello, this is www.spicyreads.org. I'm Ed Spicer. Sit back and enjoy Gary Paulsen speaking about his life and his writing for about the next 10 minutes. Thanks for stopping by. Gary Paulsen, welcome to www.spicyreads.org.
People that admire your work and have admired your work for many, many years need an answer to this question. Did you, for the record, ever pee on an electric fence?
No. But I got my cousin to do it. And it was scientific research of a first order. I didn't have to injure myself. It damn near sterilized him. And the effect was astonishing. It really was.
Okay, thank you. Now that we've got that mystery cleared up, we can move on to... I work with teens, and one of the things I do with teens is work with them on performance reading. And I know that in performance reading that you're doing an interpretation of the text. Now, to some extent, as you were reading My Life in Dog Years, or, Puppies, Dogs, and Blue Northers, did you learn anything about your own self? Or did you relearn anything about those books when you were reading it?
I did. I used to think that writing was like putting bloody skins on your back and dancing around the fire to tell what the hunt was like. And I made it that simple. And when I started doing these two readings, I realized that it becomes more complicated when you're doing it verbally, when you're actually doing the dance. In other words, writing it, you're interpreting the dance, you're writing about the dance. The skins aren't really there, but today and yesterday during the readings, I essentially had bloody skins on my back and was dancing around the fire and was trying to bring it to life that way. It was really humbling and interesting.
Now, an outdoor lover like you, trapped in, I've seen the Brilliance audio recording studios, so I know what your 2 days have been like. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I had a really good director, Jim Bond, and I have a technical background. I was an engineer. I worked on Sidewinder missile, the Shrike missile. I worked in satellite tracking, and I worked in chambers like that. They were called anechoic chambers.
Wow.
Where there's no outside noise allowed in or signal, and you're in a kind of a dead zone. And it was the same here. There was no input from the place I was. There was no babbling stream. There were no trees, and so I had to make all that become real. It was really something.
I imagine that reading My Life in Dog Years brought back many poignant memories of those 8 friends.
There were several times in both books when I would start crying so much that we had to stop, and Jim would try to incorporate some of that in. But for instance, Cookie, I had to do her death scene.
Oh.
And she had cardiac, and God, I just bawled, and I was sitting there, we had to stop and back up and do it over, and that way.
I noticed that Publishers Weekly gave a starred review to Puppies, and they called it a love story. And I'm wondering what your take is on that.
I love dogs, and I am loved by dogs. I have 47 sled dogs now in Alaska, as we speak here.
Oh my!
And I have 6 dogs at my shack in the New Mexico mountains, where I go to the pound and I say, "Give me the next one you're going to kill." He just got lucky, and I don't ask what it is. So I got a Chihuahua and a Basset and a Poodle, and a big old dumb hound kind of guy, But they live their life out, and I love them, and I am loved by them.
Yeah, I have always wondered, many of your fans know you as a fiction writer, and they may not really quite be aware that you've actually raced in the Iditarod.
I've done 2 times since. And then this last 4 years, this is now 2010, so the last 4 or 5 years I've been trying to run it again, but my body it just says, no. I harness up.
Get back into your chair and start riding. No racing.
I've broken both legs. I broke my left arm, my right wrist, chipped my teeth, knocked a tooth out. I got attacked by a moose, one thing and another. So it's not working well for me right now. I would love to run it again, but it's not going to happen.
Have you reached your 200th book yet?
I think so, but that includes, I worked for a long time doing westerns and mysteries and adult adventure stories, like mercenary soldiers and that kind of thing, just action adventure stuff. So if you count all of those, then it's over 200.
You have received such great reviews and such great honors. And you write so many different styles of work that I imagine, do you ever kind of wish that you could use a pseudonym so people wouldn't think of you as maybe the hatchet guy?
Well, it's too late for that, but I do. When I wrote the westerns, some of them were Paul Garrison, clever, that, and Carson Dawes, Eldon Task. Those are all pen names that I used doing westerns and mysteries and stuff, and those were flat fee books. No royalties. No, it was just, there was a
Give you
job.
$500, write a book?
Yeah, the most I ever got was 700, not 7,000. I won the Spur Award 3 times, which is Western Writers of America.
And who were you when you won?
Gary Paulsen.
Oh, okay.
I work really hard to learn how to write, to know how to write.
One of the things that I notice in many of your books I don't know about, there's always some sort of outdoor element, even in like your war books that have come out. I see that as an essential part of your personality that you can't keep it out of your writing even if you want to?
Probably not. I've done some urban stuff. The problem, outside has always been a sanctuary for me. And I had a need for that. My parents were horrible drunks, and I couldn't be in the house with them, so I lived outside. I even if I was around the house, I would sleep in the back of the car or somewhere away from them, or in the yard, just sleep in the yard.
Yeah.
Or in the woods, the north woods, and that becomes part of what I am. I mean, it really does.
And that was back when you were what, about 14?
Starting at 7. I was
7.
I was a street kid in Manila at age 7.
In Manila, were your family in the
My father was in the army over there after. He was on Patton's staff. And immediately after the war, he was sent to Manila. They were having trouble with communist guerrillas. They were called Hucks. And Mother and I took a troop ship over there. But they were drunks. They drank all the time. I had no home life there. And I was semi-raised by one of their servants was a houseboy named Ram. And he took me in, and I stayed with him and his family.
When you were out on your own, whether it was in Manila or whether it was in Minnesota or wherever you were, did you let anyone know that you were on your own?
Well, Ram knew. Various adults have helped me.
Yeah. I have a kind of a selfish reason for asking that, because as a runaway myself and on my own since the age of 12, I know that I was very secretive and very private and didn't want anyone to know my story, because then they stop expecting things from you and they just want to do for you and do for you.
Yes.
Is there anything about your new work that you can share with us?
Well, first off, is this audio thing. I don't think I'll read more, but unless I find a new throat. They're really getting the back of it and working hard at it, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, and they do such a good job with their books, too.
They have 2 books. I think the working titles are Flat Broke. The original title was Flat Busted. Didn't work out very well for reasons. And Liar Liar. Those are 2 that will be out next. Not next, but they're down the road a little bit. They're humor. Paintings from the Cave is the next book out, and it's a series of three novellas in one book that are
interconnected.
No, not at all. They're about 3 different. They're semi-true, but they're 3 stories of 3 young people who do not have much of a chance and have found a way to get things like you and I, you and me, I should say, English being what it is. No, I mean, you were a runaway, I was the same. And you find a way to make it work, or you don't, or you don't. You wind up in prison.
Thank you very much for appearing on www.spicyreads.org. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks.
It's fun to be here.
Hello, I'm Ed Spicer, and that was Gary Paulsen speaking to me on www.spicyreads.org. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks, Gary. Thanks so much. You're a great gaffer.